The King and Queen Consort will be carried from their coronation at Westminster Abbey in the historic gold state coach last seen during the late Queen's Platinum Jubilee pageant, Buckingham Palace has confirmed. In a dazzling display of pomp and splendour, the royal couple will depart the ceremony in the 253-year-old horse-drawn carriage, which has leather straps for suspension and is famously uncomfortable to ride in. In a 2018 interview, the late Queen described riding to and from her own coronation in it as horrible and not very comfortable. But the royal couple have decided to stick with tradition for one of their two spectacular Coronation Day processions at least. Their Majesties will instead travel to the Abbey in the Australian-built Diamond State Coach, which was made in 2014 and boasts comfortable seats, shock absorbers, and air conditioning. The smaller carriage will reflect a smaller arrival procession at the Abbey, according to royal aides. Built for Queen Elizabeth II's 80th birthday, the Diamond Jubilee State carriage features a crown on the roof made from wood taken from Admiral Nelson's flagship HMS Victory. The interior, which is decorated in primrose yellow silk, contains a fragment of a dress worn by Florence Nightingale and wood taken from major British landmarks, including St Paul's Cathedral and St George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. Speaking at the Royal Mews at Buckingham Palace, Sally Goodsir, curator of decorative arts at the Royal Collection Trust, said, "It's a real microcosm of British and world history." The interior is inlaid with specimen woods from places such as Balmoral Castle, Osborne House on the Isle of Wight, the Palace of Holyrood House in Edinburgh, but also from places deeply associated with British and world history. There is a fragment of Florence Nightingale's dress, for example. The King has travelled in it before when he sat with his mother for the 2019 state opening of Parliament. The gold state carriage, which can only carry a sovereign and consort, will take Charles and Camilla from the Abbey to the palace. Sally said, "This is going to be the centrepiece of a much larger and longer procession from Westminster Abbey back to Buckingham Palace on Coronation Day. It is huge. It is 4 meters tall and 7 meters long and weighs 4 tons. Because of that, it can only move at a walking pace, which really adds to the majesty and stateliness of this great royal procession. There are 8 horses required to pull this carriage, which adds more, of course, to its length. When it passes you in the street, you will just have this glimpse of gold with the sovereign travelling inside." The gilded wooden coach was built in 1762 and is only ever used to convey a monarch and their consort. Sally added, "There are very few monarchies which have retained working coaches of this age, and therefore it's an incredibly special thing to see, really harking back to a couple of centuries earlier, a world we probably can't imagine today of carriages, horses on the streets." Coach restorer Martin Oates, 57, is the brakeman on the gold state carriage, a role he took on from his father. He is now in his 40th year of working at the Royal Mews, following in the footsteps of his grandfather and great-grandfather, who both rode in Queen Elizabeth II's coronation procession in 1953. Martin's father Alfred rode postilion for the gold state coach for the 1977 Silver Jubilee, and Martin walked behind the coach in procession during the Golden and Platinum Jubilees. He will do so again in the 2023 coronation procession. He said, "The point of the brakeman is to make sure the carriage does not roll backwards and forwards. To stop the carriage rolling backwards at the Abbey, I put the brake on, that is the plan. It's not tricky. But it is quite a big vehicle and horses don't always stop when they are meant to." Speaking about efforts to improve the comfort, Martin said the leather suspension straps were changed 15 yet.